In that meeting,
last night, while meeting Prism 70 at State House in Entebbe, the ruling NRM Parliamentary Caucus resolved to have the current UPDF Amendment Bill withdrawn, reviewed and new provisions added.
We are now saying this is the same law. Either than proceeding to amend, why don't we just do a withdrawal, have a comprehensive consideration in terms of drafting it to cover the areas where a court has made a decision. In the knowledge of the Attorney General, this matter is urgent, and we expect it to be handled as soon as possible.
This follows a recent Supreme Court judgment that nullified the prosecution of all civilians in the General Court-Martial and military courts as unconstitutional. The Supreme Court ruled that the General Court-Martial had no powers to try civilians as well as all people charged with criminal offences or any cases with custodial penalties. Instead, it recommended that these be transferred to civil courts. Speaking during the 44th Tarehe Sita celebrations this week, the Chief of Defence Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, expressed disappointment with the ruling.
Your Excellency, this development is very unfortunate and quite unacceptable. It could herald a national security crisis, threatening the effective command, control and administration of the Defence Forces.
Appearing before Parliament this week, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, said the Supreme Court's ruling did not amount to a release order for civilians who were being tried under the General Court-Martial.
The court does not say, I have freed, because the case hasn't been heard. They are only saying, bring it before the proper court, so that we hear the case. So we should not misguide the population, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Medad Lubega Segona, one of the lawyers representing Colonel Dr. Kiiza Besigye, has castigated the minister over the justification of what he called continued illegal detention of Besigye and others.
Even a basic law student would understand that without a court order, you cannot detain. What Norbert Mao, Honorable, is trying to say now, to do, is to say that Dr. Besigye and all those other people, the hundreds of thousands of people in prison, must justify their liberty and freedom. Without a valid detention warrant, nobody can be in prison. It is illegal, and I'm surprised that Norbert Mao, Honorable, who is supposed to advise, and he knows some law because he went to law school in Makerere. So he should not mislead.
His sentiments are shared by the Executive Director of the Center for Constitutional Governance, Sarah Birete.
There is no specific directive from the Supreme Court judgment saying release people who were under trial of the military courts. But the release that citizens are demanding is implied, because if the court stops trial of civilians in military courts, what happens to these civilians? We have a quick test of the judgment, which is Haj Obeid and Dr. Besigye. Their time in prison lapsed 2 days after the judgment. What do you do with them?
However, the two welcomed last evening's resolution by the NRM Parliamentary Caucus to amend the UPDF Act before sounding a caution.
So if they make comprehensive amendments which are in line with the recommendations of the Supreme Court and which do not offend the Constitution, yes, we shall support them. But the moment they bring laws or amendments that have the effect of upsetting the decision of court, they are barred by Article 92 of the Constitution. We shall certainly not allow them.
I hope that the NRM caucus is not thinking of reenacting sections of the UPDF Act that were outlawed by the Supreme Court, because Article 92 of the Constitution prohibits Parliament from legislating with the purpose of defeating a court decision or court judgment.
Segona added that they would not give up the demand for the unconditional release of their clients and other citizens still held under detention despite the clear Supreme Court ruling.
That's why for Dr. Besigye and Obeid Lutale, we already filed a habeas corpus. For Counsel Aaron Kiiza, judicial review. For the others, we do not know. We shall definitely get court orders.
Birete, also a lawyer, adds that the Commissioner General of the prison should be taken on as an individual for violating the Supreme Court ruling.
I know that one case has been filed against him, but there should be multiple suits against Mr. Byabashija, because he is in contempt of Supreme Court decision. He is holding Besigye and Haji Lutale illegally. It's like an abduction.
We can only wait to see how soon the Attorney General will draw new proposals into the UPDF Amendment Bill and when those still under detention will be released. I'm Benjamin Jumbe, NTV Weekend Edition.